daily broadcasts, our social media pages, or through our 75-plus digital billboards across the nation. Contact us to learn about our competitive rates via marketing at wesncc.com or call us at 628-5835. WESN Content Capital, television with a difference.
Are you driven, ambitious, and ready to earn? WESN, the content capital, is expanding, and we're looking for dynamic media sales executives to join our team. Sell powerful advertising solutions across television, digital, and social media platforms, and help brands tell their story. If you have strong communication skills, a passion for sales, and the drive to succeed, join WESN today. Send your CV to marketing at wesncc.com or WhatsApp 6861662 and start building your future.
Hi, I am Emiliana Beechan, and I am a mental health and conflict resolution consultant. Welcome to Mind Matters, the show where we explore the intricate world of mental health and the art of conflict resolution. Join us as we hear from mental health professionals, conflict resolution experts, and everyday people who have transformed their lives through understanding and communication. Mind Matters, WESN Content Capital.
Take some time for yourself or spend some time with the family at Sandy Point Village Hotel. Enjoy our various studio and suite apartments, self-contained with their own kitchenettes and Wi-Fi. We also have our famous 100-foot swimming pool and our beachfront restaurant, the Steak and Lobster Grill. And our location in Crown Point puts us near the center of activity from the nylon pool to the local nightlife. Call us and make your reservations at 639-8533, 389-2378, or email us at sandypointvillagehotel@gmail.com.
In this day of stay-at-home and work from home, home has never meant more than it does today. Whether you're looking to buy, rent, or build your new home, now is the time to get going. Gittins & Gittins real estate agents are here to take you to that place of your dreams. Let us take you home. We help you find that rental to rest along the way, or journey with you to find your home destination. Investors and commercial enterprises too, call us and we'll walk the distance to place your business in just the right location. Owners, leave the headaches to us. We'll find your tenants or buyers while you stay at home. We'll even manage your property at your bidding. Anything real estate, come home to Gittins & Gittins Real Estate. Call us at 760-3280 or 747-1220, or visit us at 16 Fifth Street in Woodbrook.
Trinidad and Tobago, get ready for a musical explosion of freedom, culture, and pure steel band magic.
Featuring 5 of the nation's super bands, plus their talented youth bands.
Get ready for Generations of Steel,
the ultimate celebration of our national instrument.
Featuring 5 of the nation's super bands, plus their talented youth band.
Experience the power and passion of Desperados,
Shell Invaders,
Massey Trinidad All-Stars,
First Citizens Supernovas,
and the pride of the South, Fun Play. Saturday, July 11th
at the iconic Grandstand, Queen's Park, Savannah.
And hear this one. First 800 tickets sold. Admit 2 buses on 1 ticket if bought by Saturday, June 27th.
Presented by Super Panman, Dane Gulston and Friends.
Supported by CCNTV6, The Express Newspaper, and I-95.5 FM.
Generations of Steel, the biggest pan event after Panorama.
WESN.
Welcome back. Now we head into our Thriving Today segment. Father's Day is often celebrated with gifts and family gatherings, but one organization is organizing fathers to leave behind something that can benefit generations to come. This weekend, the Fathers Association of Trinidad and Tobago will host its Hike and Plant Father's Day tree planting event in Williamsville, bringing together fathers, children, and community members for a day of environmental action, mentorship, and family bonding. This initiative aims to promote stronger family connections while encouraging participants to play a role in creating a greener future. President of the Fathers Association of Trinidad and Tobago, Rondell Fields, joins us this morning for this discussion. Good morning, Rondell.
Morning. Thanks for having me again.
Absolutely. So, Rondell, an occasion like this is unusual for a Father's Day event because, you know, we tend to hear more about like a brunch or a cricket match or something like that. So, what inspired it and why did you choose tree planting as this year's Father's Day activity?
Well, it's actually, I would say the sequel is the second year. It's something that we came together with the Eco Titans. Last year, Eco Titans, they always have their hike and plant initiatives. And we collaborated with them last year for the first time because, I mean, we see planting a seed as more than just planting a literal seed. I think we had the opportunity to be able to put some spiritual and emotional and sentimental value behind that. And the first one was just amazing. I mean, it gives us the opportunity sometimes to just sit back, speak to our children, plant that tree, and while putting that tree down on the ground, share some inspirational words with your children, with your sons, your daughters. Because, I mean, the life of a tree is generational. Yes. And our lives are generational. So I think that it was so similar in that aspect that we could have actually killed two birds with one stone, because most of the areas that we go to are areas that actually need reforestation. Yeah. You understand? So we doing reforestation while we planting seeds of legacy in the same breath, while we taking an opportunity to make emotional bonds with our children, with our wives, our family, and our loved ones. Yeah.
So how important would you say it is for fathers to spend meaningful time with their children through activities like this?
I mean, it's critical and important, and I'll always tell it from the aspect of being a young boy who grew up without a father. I mean, everything feels better, and I don't have to look for no big word for that. Just to know daddy there, your parents there, just to know you have their support, just to know that you can look up, they're right at their side, they give you inspirational words. As I said, that is something that I may not have had, but at the end of it, as I said vicariously the last time I was here, I see the impact it has on my sons. I see the impact that other fathers have on their children. I've heard these stories of young men who grew up with their fathers, and they're often confused when they hear sons like me who didn't have fathers, and I'm confused by them as well, because whereas we who grew up without fathers always have the ideology of being better than our fathers or not being anything like our fathers, they always aspire to be half as good as theirs. And that is something that's amazing. So that just speaks to the relevance of fathers in the home, and speak to the relevance of fathers being able or being allowed to spend significant time with their children. And events like this, I think, is also trying to reculture the society, you know. The men will, we often say, hey, I had to work today, or your culture to say, earning that dollar over building that bond. I think that is something that we need to reculture in our society. And as I said, it has to start from on top. It has to start from places like paternity leave, being meaningful, getting meaningful time. We have to be access orders being increased to meaningful time, so that we send a message to society that fathers spending time with their children is something that is critical and important for proper social development. It is. Why do you think we having all these issues of young boys running down gangs and want to be involved in gangs and these kind of things? They're looking for that leadership, they're looking for that mentorship, they're looking for that connectivity with a more advanced male version of themselves.
That's so true. And in terms of the organization being focused, right? Why is it important for, again, the organization to be focused on fatherhood, but also to engage in community projects like this?
I mean, because I mean, fathers are part of the community. Men are part of the community. We are members of the society. You know, sometimes they like to make us feel like we're secondary members, but I'm just joking. I'm kind of serious. But we are members of the society as well, and we play a significant role economically. Yes. We play a significant role, I mean, sentimentally, emotionally as well. I mean, we may show emotion differently at times to women, but we are very important to the family circle, which is very important to the community circle, because the community is made of families. I understand? And families are made of members of the society, and we are a member of society. Men, we are actually the older version of the boys. You know, there's love us when we are boys, but when you get older, I don't know what has happened. But I mean, on a serious note, it's important because it gives us a space in the community. It gives us the opportunity as men to be able to feel valued and to feel appreciated, and to, I mean, sometimes air our sentiments with the hope that there are other members of the society and community that honestly want to hear and care about them as well, care about our vulnerabilities as well.
Absolutely. So let's take it back a bit, because you did touch on it, and I just would like you to elaborate. The theme is Leave a Legacy, Plant a Tree. Right. So behind this theme, of course, there's a deeper meaning. So of course, we're asking, can you share it? And how does it tie into the role with fathers in their families, and also, well, like I said, you touched on it, in the communities?
Well, I mean, I am a strong believer that the only thing you leave on this earth is your name. So you could leave assets as a father or as a parent. You could leave assets that most likely could be dwindled away, could be sold, right, could be destroyed, all of these sorts. But you see, a legacy is what you leave inside of your children. The core values you leave inside of them. Mm-hmm. The mission, the purpose, the inspiration, your name is what you leave inside of them as well. Because I always say that the only thing you leave on this earth is your good name or your bad name. Yeah. And at the end of the day, whatever name you leave, your children will carry. If I, as a father, leave a bad name, my children, unfortunately, will have to live their whole lives trying to clean it, trying to sanitize it. But if I leave a good name, I leave a standard for them to hold high. Yes. And I mean, when I say sons and daughters, I don't only speak about my immediate offspring. I speak about grandchildren, great-grandchildren, great-great-grandchildren, children that I would never see or I might never meet. Yeah. At the end of the day, they must be able to go back historically and look and say, you know, I had a great-great-great-great-great-grandfather that lifted our name to a place that I will never diminish it. And if every member of our community think on that level, every father think on that level, that he leaves a good legacy, a good brand, a good name, a good value and moral ethic in his children, we definitely going to have a better society, a better community by far and large, because, I mean, you leave the core values that are required to build a better community. Yeah,
absolutely. And how can members of the public get involved with the association beyond this event?
I mean, well, I think a lot of people know how to get in contact with us. We have a new Facebook page now, because unfortunately someone made a false report and caused our original page to be dismantled. So we have a new Facebook page. We also have our website, www.tfatt.com. Our numbers to reach us, as I said, we don't do phone call outreach again, but at times we do. We have our WhatsApp number, 4815762, and we try to do as much telephone outreach that we can possibly do now. We try to advocate for the Ministry of Social Development now, as it includes family, to create spaces, and if they create a space, we will definitely fill that space. That persons could come and we will be able to assist them.
Yeah, right? Absolutely. And in terms of that tree planting, and you mentioned that it's in areas where you would have needed reforestation. Right. Are there plans to monitor or maintain, you know, the trees after they are planted?
Yeah, so the Eco Titans, they deal with that part. They deal with the monitoring. They partner with other farming groups like White Farm and all these other organizations. Sometimes the Ministry of the forestry division, and I think they were shut down last year. I don't know if they reopened. I can't say, I don't know. But I know private groups like Y Farm and these places, they always check on the maintenance. This year, we are going to go to Musai Avenue, Williamsville. That's actually directly opposite the Williamsville Health Center for those who want a landmark. We're going to be there between 7 a.m. to half 11. So what we really do at the event, we go out, we have the gathering, we speak, we talk about particular things. As I said, one of our main focus this year is highlighting the value of meaningful paternity leave for men. We speak, then we have the trees there. We encourage the families to start taking trees with their family. The holes are already pre-dug, so you don't want to dig the hole.
Right.
So there are normally 3 stages that we have, which is a very light stage for those, you know, amateur level. A little more. Then we have the 2nd level for those who want to go a little further, and then the 3rd level for those who are a little more adventurous. All of them, practically, you could do all. I did all. I was a little afraid the first time. So, I mean, but it was an amazing event to see the fathers with the children, to see, as I said, even some mothers who are single mothers came with their children as well, their daughters and sons, and some of us had to stand in the gap with them, you know, say inspiring things to them when they're putting the plants down on the ground. And in addition, we had, last year we weren't able to tag them, but this year we're working with tags this year. So you tag your tree, label the tree, what you want it to be, and we try to plant generational trees like Pui, and then I know they always focus also on, because as Eco Titans part, they focus on the plants they have there, because they always want to plant trees that will also provide food for the wildlife in the area as well. It really gave me an opportunity beyond the spiritual or the sentimental bond, which is critical and important for me, to, you know, like to give back to the environment. Yeah. We take so much from it now, furniture and everything else we take from it, but we don't really get an opportunity to give back. So even in that regard, as a human being giving back to nature, it was kind of coming full circle for me. And I think sometimes we don't think those things are important in life. Right. Yeah. We don't see the value of connecting with nature. We don't see the value of connecting with people and family. And that's why we stress so much, because the only thing we're connecting to is money. And then when we don't have it, or we have to find a way to have it, or we're working every day to get it, it's stressing you out and you're getting depressed and you're not happy. And it's because I think, and I mean, I say this to myself, because at that point, as business is all I consider as well, right? I realize that there's a lot more to life than just seeking after economic gain and advantage. There's a very big sentimental and spiritual aspect of life that I think many of us miss out. Some of us die without even tapping into it, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, indeed. And, well, we've seen that, you know, you mentioned it happened last year and the feedback was really, really good. And it's happening again this Saturday. Do you believe that, you know, this can become an annual, ongoing Father's Day tradition that can come about?
It has already. I mean, we enjoyed it so much the first time, and I mean, we always have the scouts coming out, so we're expecting them to come out this year as well. All these groups and then the hiking teams who always do all the hiking together. You know, that hiking cruise around Trinidad and Tobago, they come out. I can't forget the Hunters Search and Rescue. They always come out, Captain Valance Rambarat, so he's already confirmed that they're going to be there as well. So most definitely, we're going to have a lot of groups coming out, and we're encouraging everybody in Trinidad and Tobago, if you have your group, come out. It's between 7 to 11, as I said. You could come anywhere in between that space and come and plant that tree and be a part of the experience. So it's going to take much out of your morning to do that at all.
And I mean, after you shared it like that and discussed it, and I'm even excited to look towards to see, you know, how it plays out, how it happens, and even so, if, you know, to show up and plant something.
Yeah, that's what you're supposed to do. All the stuff I talk at the shop, understand? Make some time, come along the road, bring a group of your friends, plant a tree, even if it's about building that bond, and as I say, being in touch with the things we don't consider. You know, when we started that, you see, when we start to get anxiety and we get stressed, we go in on an app for calming music, and we have it in nature. When I went there last year and I see this stream flowing below, and Hunters Search and Rescue took some of the group and carried them in some trails, and it was an amazing experience. The wildlife, the birds, everything, it was just free. And then the morning dew falling at that particular time made it even better. I had no excuse not to come. Williamsville is right there. That's about a 40 minutes drive if you're coming from Port of Spain. So even if you're closer than that, you have no excuse. Zero.
I love the calculated routes and, letting them know it's right there. On a side note of everything, though, how did it feel, to receive, what would it feel to receive that national award?
Boy, I mean, it's always good for commendation. Huh? I mean, I appreciated it. I mean, I wish my mom was alive to see it, and my dad, unfortunately, they both passed before. But I think what I would appreciate more is to actually see, some of the things that we're fighting for so long actually pass so that it benefits our wider society. I mean, our award, it benefits me in a way that now everywhere I go, people will mention the award and is awardee. But for me to really feel like I was awarded anything for my service, is to see paternity leave past 8 to 12 weeks. It's to see shared parenting come around. It's to see legislation for paternity fraud. It's to see children that are being parentally abducted, there are laws to protect them, criminal laws to protect them. That is when you're awarded on the fields, in my view, because those are the things I've advocated for. Those are the things I've fought for, and those are the things that will benefit our wider society. So giving me an award is good for my image, is good for my portfolio and CV and those things. But really and truly, the things I've fought for, more so than anything else, is to see change. Yeah. So if you give me an award, I'm grateful, Well, don't say I'm ungrateful, they quick to say all kind of thing, moment. I'm very grateful. But I mean, when I would really feel rewarded is to see these things that we've advocated for come to fruition and see the benefits that I know that it can bring to our society. Yeah. And we'll be looking for all these strategies for crime and bring van and bring guns and bring more ammunition and bring this technical person from here and bring that one here. But we're not developing our society. And if we don't develop our society, crime is a social behavior, a bad social behavior. So it means it is a social issue. And to combat crime, you have to use, together with the reactive approach, a proactive social approach. So as much as you want to combat the mind that is already criminally developed with all the reactive approaches of the police strategies and the crime strategies, which I know are critical and important, you have to have the preventative ones that prevents the criminal mind from developing in the first place. I always say no one is born a criminal, no one is born a racist. That is taught behavior. You don't have no wards in Mount Hope, unless, I don't know if they build one now, on the maternity ward where children who are automatically criminal and automatically racist are born. None. It's not one. It is when we take them from that ward and carry them to an environment that is taught in that environment. That criminal behavior is taught in that environment. So we have to find ways to expunge these environments that teach this bad social behavior, and then we will have a better society. You can't keep spending millions and millions and millions behind all the crime plan, and we bring a new set of drones. All these things are important to react to crime, But what are we doing at the preventative side? And the challenging thing is that from the preventative side, the reason why people don't like to look at that approach is because when you prevent it and it doesn't happen, it takes a longer while for you to appreciate it. You follow me? Yeah. So the bang at the minister saying, well, we did something here, and well, nobody didn't really see a shift now until 5 or 10 years after, and we have less crime, and you could put it against the data. It seems like he ain't doing nothing. So people prefer to focus on the reactive part. Well, we bring XYZ vehicles, and we bring XYZ so you actually could show you're doing something. But in the long game, we need to understand that both of them need to work simultaneously for us to have a better society.
Thank you so much, Rondell, for coming on and sharing. And lastly, of course, just to leave a message for all fathers out there celebrating on Sunday, or even for the children celebrating their fathers on Sunday, what message would you leave with them this morning?
Well, firstly, before the message, I'm inviting all fathers to come out on Saturday. For years, we've advocated for you. For years, we stood with you. We ask you to stand with us now. Make the time, make the effort. Tomorrow is a holiday. You could get all the rest you need and come out early Saturday morning and spend and build and bond that time with your children. And I just ask fathers to continue to be active in their children's life. Continue for those who are having challenges to see them, fight hard to see them, let them see that you're putting up a fight to see them, so they will always appreciate and value the effort that you have made, and continue to do the best that you can. Those fathers who may be slipping up where they are slipping up, I ask you to stand, because you don't understand the gift and power and beauty of being a parent. And I would encourage you to most definitely become involved. If you are uninvolved, do what you have to do to be involved, because it just isn't beneficial to the child. It's beneficial to you and everyone else in the child's immediate space.
Thank you so much, Rondell, for coming on and being a part of this morning's conversation. As always, it's a pleasure to have you come and share your knowledge with us and impart some wisdom and understanding on different things that, you know, we're seeing every day, but never take any time to fully dive or go further into it. So we really appreciate it. Guys, as we're about to take a break, so when we come back, we have more engaging conversations, so stay with us.
Maybe he landed here totally by coincidence. But if by chance he's admiring your fresh coat of Benjamin Moore soft sky blue, well, that's a pretty high compliment. Coming from an expert.
This is 10 Questions. I'm Andy Johnson. The distance from where we should be in the world in going forward on our commitments with climate change.
The effects of climate change that cannot be accounted for, it's called loss and damage, and we're seeing loss and damage happening so much more in this decade and the previous decade.
The principal term there was this question of the correspondent banking issues.
That is why we're trying to build capacity with this country here, Trinidad and Tobago, and other countries in the region. Man is not showing any signs of stopping or even slowing down. More than half of the forest in Trinidad is already gone.
All the plants and all the animals and all of the nice clean water and fresh air and everything had to be on this planet for humanity to have a chance.
We have small change when it comes to countries that can take decisions, and when they speak, the world listens.
The General Assembly is a very democratic forum. I mean, and Trinidad and Tobago has the same vote as Canada, in spite of the obvious difference in size.
FanZone, your reliable, authentic supplier, has just gotten better. You can now visit our website www.fanzonett.com for your authentic wear and collectibles. The only place where you can use both your Visa debit and credit cards. Visit our website fanzonett.com to make your purchase today.
Welcome back. It was a bittersweet weekend for our country, with many headlines highlighting bravery, murder, sorrow, political fallouts, and more. But one particular story invited national opinions and an overlooked issue. The heated exchange that unfolded in Parliament last Friday night have reignited concerns about the standard of conduct being displayed by the nation's leader. Let's have a look.
I am seeking your direct intervention because this is not the first time. So the bias, no, I am not going to apologize for that at all.
My mic was being turned off too.
The biased approach by the staff
Okay.
and the technicians to mute while we speak, and sometimes the audio while it is being played or the Parliament channel will not be tolerated. And therefore we ask, from now I'm signaling that there will be a meeting of the Broadcasting Committee to treat with these matters.
All right. Huh?
Who the hell you telling hell? Who the hell you telling hell?
Okay, let's. Okay, it's 9:13 tonight. There's a solution to this. We will convene the meeting of the Broadcast Committee. There's a way to get the empirical evidence and data. Let's not allow ourselves to be sidetracked into this and prolong this issue, which can be dealt with in another way. Right?
You can't. What? What? What is this? Mr. Speaker. This government is a bunch of dictators.
This was raised already.
This is tyranny. You're out of place.
This was raised already.
Tyranny in this parliament, Mr. He attacked the staff. They just bully the staff. Out of place. What is wrong with you? What is wrong with all you?
I am going
Mr.
to
Chairman,
stop this
we will
now.
not continue to tolerate.
You can't do that.
I am going to stop this now. Everyone be quiet.
This is a free and democratic society. What the hell is wrong with this government?
Be quiet.
What is wrong with this government? Out of place.
Everyone.
What can stuff like that? Protect, and you have not come to the defense of your own staff. You have not come to the defense of your own staff in the parliament, Mr. Call the police for him.
I did not see any of that.
That's bullying behavior.
I don't know if he was talking to or whatever he was doing.
Go and make a report to the police.
And he went to the technician, the mic, and I don't know what he said to him. And even if this is not
Okay. It's 9:33. Let us all calm down, exercise a measure of verbal and let's exercise some restraint. This unbridled shouting is not helpful. There is a way we can do this. If it is, there's an allegation or whatever it is, we can collect the empirical data subjected to analysis, but for the sake of moving on, let us move on. We have 10 heads yet to go. Okay? There is another way to deal with that. There is another way to deal with that, and you know it, you're an experienced parliamentarian. We are sitting in committee here. Okay? So you know the other way to deal with that. Everyone knows their way to deal with that. Procedurally.
Mr. Chair, as the chairman, you can also address the matter and say that no staff is to be approached by anyone or something.
Right. And further, I would ask all members, please exercise a great degree of restraint with the Parliament staff. The Parliament staff, they go beyond the call of duty by and large. All right? So let's... I would trust that sometimes when my rulings don't find favor with you, you would pound the desk as vociferously you're pounding it now. All right.
Of the democracy of Trinidad and Tobago.
No, Mr. I am not having a discussion. We are moving on. Well, Port of Spain South, there is Port of Spain South. Port of Spain South. I am instructing you to be quiet.
Why, Mr. Chairman? Why should I be quiet?
Because we are moving on. So be quiet. We are moving on. Issue has somewhat been dealt with. We will deal with it through another procedural device and mechanism. If you do not allow me to move on, we are moving on. Honorable members, the question is that the 2026 appropriation for Head 65.
Chairman, hand up to ask a question. I've written it down here already.
Listen, you all need to tell me prior to what it is, okay? All of this foolishness.
Mr. Chair, the member for
I did not
and
see
so
that.
what? And so what? And so what? Mr. Chair, if you allow me, and for clarity, for the public record, I'm a member of the Broadcasting Committee. This situation with regards to the mic was raised before. We raised the situation of the government mic continually being muted. It was raised before. Do not let us sit here and act like it's the first time. It was raised before by myself and member Amin. It was raised before.
Okay. The sitting of this House is going to be suspended for 10 minutes. We should come back at 9:47.
Now, while much of the focus has been on the allegations surrounding muted microphones and the ensuing chaos in this chamber, another issue is emerging. What impact does this behavior have on young people who look to Parliament as a model of leadership and democracy? Let's discuss more in our Time Shift segment. With youth engagement programs and youth parliament initiatives designed to inspire the next generation of leaders, questions are being raised about whether repeated scenes of shouting, interruptions, and personal attacks risk normalizing such behavior for young people. Youth advocate Ndale Young joins us this morning to speak about the message these incidents send and the example being set for our future leaders. Good morning, Mr. Young.
Good morning, Ms. Thompson. How are you doing?
I'm good, and you?
Fit to find with scattered charge.
That's great. So, of course, Ndale, we're going to ask, what are your thoughts on Friday's Parliament fallout?
Now, let me just kind of give you my brief history of Parliament.
Yeah.
I've been temporarily in the Senate since 2016.
Right.
I'm not, for the last year, it's not been as much, but I mean, I'm accustomed to a number of fallouts. I wasn't there with the alleged teacup issue, but I myself have had back and forth across the floor with, you know, different people, and you know, it's the norm. It's a cut and thrust of Parliament. I think where it begins to become great is that you see, let's parallel to football in World Cup season. From time to time, players will fight and they will have discussion, but nobody's turned to off the referee, and that's the problem. The problem is, the institution needs to remain an institution that is independent, that we are called to account by. So I've had, you know, I've been in Parliament and got out, I think I had to leave the chamber for 15 minutes and come back because the phone rang or something happened. But you're held to account and you respect those people, not just because they do a service that you benefit from, but because they're the referees.
Yeah.
And you know, it's almost as like the referee and the fourth ref and the guy who moving the ball and the fellow with the VR screen, they're sacrosanct. You can't touch them. So now when it comes into focus, that, you know, and I'm not even delving into the politics, I'm just taking from a youth perspective.
Right.
A number of youths in our youth parliament aspire to work in the Parliament.
Yes.
Because, you know, after a while when you get into it, you have to come out from there. So we have even some people like
I know the chairman of Tunapuna Piako worked in the parliament before. A couple of people who went into direct politics worked in the parliament before. So, you know, it's also a ground, a breeding ground. So when you feel like in there you can be intimidated by a minister that would then come and take a picture of you, that is it's a little bit dicey for a number of reasons.
Absolutely. So young people, as you mentioned, you know, they look towards these national leaders as role models, and, you know, they pick up on certain things. So what message do scenes like Friday's Fallout send to these youths, and how concerned should we be about the behavior being displayed in one of the country's highest decision-making bodies?
For me, the issue is not so much where the parliamentarians are concerned, because I'll tell you why. The parliamentarian does all that he needs to do, whoever member of parliament on whatever side, to get his case put forward.
Right.
In this case, either the president of the Senate or the Speaker of the House has to call that place to order. I don't buy the excuse about taking pictures so you know who it is, because all of the parliament is recorded. It's easy to find a recording to say who someone was. And more importantly, if you ever get the chance to sit in youth parliament or otherwise, you would understand the issue about muting the mics is a regular issue. If they have to anticipate who was going to speak, and then they open the mic, and if they feel like you're finished speaking, they'll close the mic. You have a button on your desk that if you want to speak, you could simply press and open at whatever time you choose. The issue with that is, if you felt like it was being turned off, it was a cross-talk issue. There were several people talking, and the minister was on his legs, and then the speaker was also speaking, so he had to go between people at the time. So I think the signal being sent of intimidation should not be able to get out of the parliament. It should have been held to order there. But then the threat of, you know, the media committee and so on and so forth, it's sad in my days, because I mean I've sat in parliament with a number of people who I would consider, you know, of great pedigree, even on the opposite side of the bench, and it's never been that. It's never been that the staff is drawn into the fight.
Yeah. Do you think repeated incidents like this can influence how young people view leadership and, you know, public service? And I say repeated because, you know, we have seen this type of behavior for years happening. So.
Well, I'll tell you, you know, people, even the word politician now is almost like a degradable word, like he's a politician. You know, if you do something at home and you make an argument and you're kind of politician, but he's a politician.
Right.
So I think it definitely doesn't aid the cause of, you know, bringing the right people forward. Because I always say, you know, people say, well, I have a problem with this, or with the red, or the yellow, or the green, or whoever it is. But if you don't offer yourself, it's left that when, you know, evil prevails when good men do nothing. And if the people who are looking on say, I don't want to be involved in that because it's so, that's not what I think, then we rob ourselves of the best version of our youth coming forward and wanting to take part in there. They might want to be a doctor, they might want to be a lawyer.
Right.
But, you know, being a politician, it puts a smear almost on the profession as a real profession.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the sad part about that. But I would also say that I am also not naive that the thought process, I am of the view, the thought process that the leader or the politicians or those who offer themselves make the country the way that it is, I don't necessarily agree with. I think out of the country being a particular way, the mores and norms that we allow in our homes, the family, in the church, in schools, that generates a particular type of person. And the pool that we pick our parliament from comes from that pool of persons. And that pool has been becoming a little more dirty, a little bit, it's been awash for a while. And so then on a holistic approach, the church has to be called into account, and the home and parents in terms of mores and morals and standards, because you can only pick from your pool. You could only have Trinidadian, you could pick, you know, you have to be here. And of the Trinidadians, more than likely, your MP will be somebody from your area. So if in your area, this is the type of people that are allowed to come forward, that you will put forward and vote and support and stand behind, then that speaks to the nation more than it speaks to any parliament or any party in particular. It speaks to where we're going as a nation.
Absolutely. And, well, in terms of that youth parliament side of things, how important is it for youth parliament initiatives to distinguish between a passionate debate and disrespectful conduct?
The truth about it is, a passionate debate sometimes can be taken as disrespect. Let's be real. But there is a line. I don't think it's a thin line. And in the parliament, that line is largely identified in two things. One, the culture of the parliament, in terms of what we have done, and that's where it's a real threat that this doesn't become a cultural thing. It doesn't become a norm that a minister, because some things that we do is just done because we're not accustomed to doing it.
Yeah. Not
because it's written in the standing orders, but the real hard line for that conduct is the standing orders. There is a rule, or there's a rule book where you can. So you may not violate the standing orders in what you're doing, or maybe standing orders need to be generated to protect now the staff.
Yeah.
After this action, but that's generally how laws go. Sometimes something happens, and because of that thing, sometimes to protect those people, we entrench them in some sort of law or in some sort of regulation. So yes, the standing orders are there, but it is also the culture of the thing to be a little more, and if you are uncouth or uncultured, then we might have to look at who we picked to put there. So there's also responsibility on the leaders of each party to, you need a little slap on the wrist. I feel like you're going a little too far.
Right.
Somebody had to pull the chain. Clearly, he has no chain.
In terms of being able to learn something from this, what lessons should young people ideally be learning from Parliament?
I would say, if we're talking about the conduct of the Parliament, sometimes you learn what not to do. I tell my children all the time, not every action that somebody does, you can learn. But I mean, learn, I will not do that. This is an example of what not to do. All of us who've been to university or anyway, they always have the bad examples.
Right.
So, but more importantly, learn to take responsibility for your actions and for your country. I think at the end of the day, whatever happens in this period of time, it affects everyone. I think what needs to be taken away, and the biggest lesson to learn out of this situation, is for those who are not willing to partake, who stand on the side and say, two things I don't talk about, politics and religion, and I not me, and I not red, I not yellow, I nothing. Whether or not I still have to buy my food anyway, I still have to work and make my own money, and all of this rhetoric. But the truth is, you are affected by it. But you have been accustomed to the norm of people having a certain amount of morals and couth, but you can be personally affected whether you make a decision or not. So your non-decision or your non-participation is a decision.
Yeah.
And it's a very dangerous one because you took no part, played no part physically, but you're a part to blame.
Wow. And in terms of undermining the confidence, right?
Right.
Can incidents like this, like this one, undermine that confidence in democratic institutions among the younger generations?
I don't know if there is much confidence to be undermined. I think the rhetoric, and I think it's almost like a cycle or a symbiotic movement.
Right.
There is the fact that young people conduct themselves in a particular way, and we should not conduct ourselves to set a right example.
Yeah.
But also because because of people in the past doing things like this, you find our musicians, our poets, when they speak about a politician and vote for we and we're going to set you free, and if you hear any Bob Marley song that you could pull and Black Stalin, better days are coming,
right.
But the line and the line and the line and the line. It's because we conduct ourselves in a particular way. Then our minstrels and our poets and so on and so forth teach to our generations that this is not really a good profession. So it
Yeah.
does undermine the confidence and the thing to be able to come forward and hold that position.
Yeah.
But I think it also, in any negative or every problem is an opportunity. So it gives the opportunity for young people, because there have been nations like Curacao and so on and so forth, where the young people have come forward, even in Japan, and said, out of universities, out of these places, and say, we will not stand for this anymore.
Yeah.
We're creating a new standard. You know, not too long ago, our neighbors, our very close neighbors in Greendot, there was a wash. And, you know, the gentleman who took over was just over 40, I think, at the time.
Wow.
And, you know, and since then, they've said, well, we will take over from here because we don't like the way that you're going. But you have to get involved. One way or the other. What you can't do is stay from where you are, looking at me, not agreeing. I don't mind. See me somewhere and come and talk to me. But get involved. Don't just be a barber shop pundit or, you're typing behind a Twitter page and you're addressing everything.
Right.
But get involved. That's what I think is missing from the youth, getting involved.
Okay.
Because if you don't see the example, you can become the example.
Right.
Nothing is wrong with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And well, I mean, you touched on this a bit, but how can leaders, demonstrate that strong political differences in terms of, not have to descend in hostility?
It's called statesmanship. And I think it goes back to earlier on when I said upbringing. We had 2 prime ministers for a long time that went to the same school. They were alma maters of the same school in San Fernando, in Basil Pandey and Patrick Pandey, and they went at each other vehemently, but all with my friend, my learned friend, my friend on the opposite side, and he's a stranger to the truth. But it was not this debauchery and low, I don't want to continue with the adjectives, but it's the pool that we're picking from. Because sometimes, and the fact remains is this, sometimes we fight the race that is not in front of us, both sides. It's not in front of us to deal with, we're looking to win a particular election, we put anybody. Not much training, much experience, they don't have much, but they're on your side. And sometimes the best ability is availability. They're available, they're loyal to you, and they put them. But it's definitely a square peg in a round hole. But the other peg will not agree with you with everything you say. So you rather put that person. And when you put that person now, you hoist on the country someone who's not even prepared, wasn't even trained for this. And you don't take the time out to hold them on their wings and to train them because you were simply trying to win what was going on in front of you, but not taking on. It's like you put together a side to win a match, a little fit match side, but now you have to play a whole league. You can't do that. So that's where a lot of these things fall apart. But I think for me, it is important that we come to a place and understand that statesmanship has to make its way back into our politics. We could have differences, we could say whatever it is, but still, still be couth, still have some decorum, still talk to people with, with some measure of, and I can't say that we did not see that in some of the older heads. I mean, they might see a drama here and there, or something here and there, but the fact remains is that you will get a certain amount of statesmanship out of that. That is where it's missing. It's almost like a bar now.
Yeah.
Not the bar is now become, instead of a bar, it's now a pub.
And just to go back to what you mentioned before with young people especially, be that example that you're not seeing.
Right.
But do you think more can be done to ensure that young people are exposed to positive examples of leadership despite the incidents that may unfold in Parliament?
Well, to say other forms is to say that the only form of leadership is political, but it's not, actually. I think that the business community here plays a serious part. I think mentorship and philanthropy is important in those spaces for people to take and see other leaders of industry in that manner. I think the number one thing is a home. I keep saying that. I keep saying that parents, it starts with parents now expecting the teachers to raise their children. Sending a child to school, the child hungry and the child have no manners, and you want the teacher to do all of that for you. It starts with you becoming You know, one of the greatest inspirations, two of the greatest inspirations I had, you know, I lived in my home. So, you know, when I look up and I say my mother was, we used to work in a factory, but she eventually bought a piece of land and flip it and buy this. And then eventually, at one point in time before the market crashed in the United States, she had 2 homes with 1.5 million from working in Meyerson Tooth Company for pittance. And that said to me, but I could do business. And therefore, if I go into any realm that doesn't put the right example forward, there's always something to compare it to. Yes. Our churches are also failing to, you know, to create that sort of example in those spaces and to say to those people, hey, this is a standard that you have to keep. So, you know, it is a 360 thing. It's not really the politicians are the only leaders that you're supposed to follow. As a matter of fact, I think we supposed to keep us accountable by standards that we know to be true. Right. You have to learn that from somewhere else and then hold those politicians up to those standards. And if they don't, you move them.
Yeah. And should there be more emphasis on civics education and even parliamentary etiquette within youth programs? And this is the youth programs for that youth parliamentary setup. Oh, most definitely. Yeah. I think there definitely need to be the etiquette of parliament needs to be something that we teach, the etiquette, that just to be able to have banter, debating on the whole, because it may not be parliament alone, but how to go about having an argument. You know, we say argument and we always mean a quarrel. Yeah. But having an argument and putting your argument forward, that it could be, you know, you could leave there knowing that you was in the guile, but you had to bust nobody head. Right. And that is very important. Financial literacy, I think, is another area where I think we lack in our nation's youth understanding what that is, because even when people look at the parliament, you ask, what is the motivation for you wanting to be, you want to be in control, you want to think, you want to spend, you want to look like the councillor, you want to be MP, to be the boss. But it's not that. You're the slave. You are, you know, people feel like you can call you at 12 o'clock at night. Right. My house just burned down. You can't say what that to do with me, I sleeping. No. You have to get up and go out there. So we have to be taught how to serve. The truth about it is, and I would say this, if you pick any random Trinidadian, they'll complain about a service. KFC, government, legal affairs, wherever they have to go. But if I ask them, the service you want, you think is given on your job, in your space? We love to be served well, but we don't serve very well. And that is the quagmire that we're in anywhere. The person who works in KFC who will tell you, we are not checking, want to go to the counter to get their passport or to get their ID card. And if the girl say, come back tomorrow, she go, how she go talk to me like that? Right. What kind of thing is this? You work in government, big work like that? When you go on workers. And it is the hypocrisy that we love to hold people accountable and not to standard, but no one must call us out. Yeah. And until as a nation, as a people, we go back to discipline, tolerance, and production. We go back to in God we trust, because we're replacing God with all type of things, AI and this, that, and social media, and there's all kind of debates. Him, them, they. There's all type of things in the space now. Until we go back to, holding hands with each other and praying when the school start, yeah. I think we're not on a right trajectory. And just to, bring everything home and, give your closing, what would you like, or what message would you like to leave with young people who, one, would have firstly, witnessed the exchanges that happened and, in terms of them understanding effective leadership and democratic debates, as well as just the young people out there still coming up and looking at different outcomes or opportunities they can enter into?
My first message would be get involved. Yeah. And I want to tell them I know a lot of these older folks don't want to give up their space. Yeah, I want to say to some of the older folks, you have to go home, but step aside now, help somebody. Right. You can't die with your boots on. Not everybody could be Eric Williams. You die in your office. Not everybody could, it's sometimes that's really where the frustration is. Yeah. That you're trying to ascend. No one wants to mentor you. Nobody wants to show, because everybody's afraid that this person will take over. But if you just prepare yourself for someone else to come forward, I think you'll be taken care of. I think you'll be okay. So the first thing I would say to young people is that you need to show up. And if you say how, I would say just come. Whatever you want to be involved in, go to every meeting, go to every place, sign up to be a part, get involved in a party, get involved in at the base level, and do the grunt work. You know, a lot of times we wait and we want to get that. Even some of our educated folks, I mean, in the People's National Movement, we have some called the Heliconia group. And in that group, you find a lot of them, you know, people who come and they have, I think that the work that they've done in the party is the work to get their degree and their masters, and they've been at the bar, and I'm now educated, so now you need to give me a position. But they don't spend time learning operations of the parliament, learning, you know, the party's constitution, learning the cut and thrust of politics. Right. And therefore, when you do get the chance, you might burn out a little faster than one would have liked. So it's one thing to giving young people opportunities, but the other one is being prepared for the opportunities that you're asking for. Because sometimes you could spend 2-3 years saying, nobody will give me a chance, nobody will get a chance. And then one day somebody say, okay, today's your day, right now. You're panicking because you're not prepared. So be prepared, show up, get involved. And I think if you really put your time and effort towards it, there will be a space where you can get involved. Because this thing doesn't really pay as well as it could. Well, for those of us who want to stay on the right side of it. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Ndale, for coming on this morning and being a part of the conversation. I do believe you have set the tone and answered some questions that a lot of young people probably looking in would have, you know, want to hear more on. So thank you for just coming on and clearing the air with that.
Anytime.
Absolutely. Guys, as we wrap up today's show, we hope that everyone was able to leave something where you're able to take away and make that change, make that difference, and just start with whatever it is that you may want to take on. And as I always say to close, stay informed, stay safe, stay positive. Up next, we do have Sean Michael Small at 8 with Talking Points, so you want to come back for that. And I'll see you again tomorrow morning. Bye.